Hi everybody, we're back. This is Dave Vellante and this is theCUBE. We're here at 42 South Street in Hopkinton, Massachusetts. EMC is having a big SAP customer event, and we're here with Bernhard Schulzki, who is a vice president involved heavily in the SAP EMC ecosystem. Bernhard's with EMC. Welcome back to theCUBE.
Hey, thank you, Dave.
So I'm going to control the mic if that's okay. So
no, that's okay. You're
they
the
say
boss. I'm a married man.
You know, there's an old saying in my business: never give up the mic. So, but anyway, so tell me what's new since the last time we've talked. What's going on in the SAP ecosystem? What are customers telling you?
Customers are very engaged in looking at how to get more flexible TCO reduction. I mean, they hear a lot about HANA, but their mind right now really is on x86 migration, virtualization, getting there and so forth. So, I mean, the event is just great. I mean, it's getting bigger every time. It's the biggest that we ever had, and customers are all excited to hear from us, from the set of specialists on how to do it. We've been speaking about, I'm not sure you can do a pre-announcement here, but we've been speaking about how we've been bringing the right sets of skill set together to actually guide the customers from their physical to the virtual. And customers are very well receiving that, and there's a lot of anxiety to finally get there and a lot of good feeling in that we are structuring it out the way we do. Let's
break down the customer problem here. So SAP environments are large, they're sophisticated, they're complicated. There's a lot of, frankly, non-differentiated heavy lifting that customers have had to do. Virtualization comes in, it simplifies things. You're talking about migration, presumably from UNIX to x86. So what kind of impacts are you guys able to have? Can you help us quantify that a little bit or give us some proof points?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, most of the things that customers want to hear about is like, okay, can we actually do it? Okay, so there's some doubt into can the Intel platform do it? So, and we are quite able to basically make that call. And the next question really is about the change management to go there. Like, hey, we have these AIX, HPUX folks and so forth, can we convert them over, which is usually also not a big problem. And then there's the case of like, hey, we've got an environment right now, we have like nice offers and so forth, should we be extending, can we do the math now? And what we kind of get to the ground to is like SAP engagements are like, I mean, they're hogging all the resources, and I mean, SAP has so many great products, there's one more kind of each quarter that's been thrown out, and what customers find is they want to be able to embrace them because they finally get the bulk of the better business processes, and they don't want to be limited by the environment. So this is the kind of talking points that we're having here.
So let's talk about the business case a little bit. I mean, what's driving the business case? What's driving CIOs and CTOs and CFOs to actually make the move and sign on the dotted line and actually expend resources to save money? And what kind of magnitude of savings are they seeing?
Okay, that's a very good question actually. So I mean, if you're interested in money, I mean, if you're able to kind of halve the cost of your infrastructure operation, I mean, that's interesting. This is what we see on average.
Get my attention.
It has mine also. What we also see is it's a bit not an apple-to-apple comparison, but usually, I mean, if people go from their a bit aged Unix environments to a new one, they see 3 times the performance and more. So I mean, half time the cost, 3 times more performance. I mean, what else do you want? I mean, this is what's driving it.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that you were saying that there's some skepticism up front about x86. I mean, x86 is, you know, they say software's eating the world, x86 eating the hardware world. So I'm surprised that was sort of a main hurdle, but as you say, you're easily able to overcome that, yes?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, here's the thing, okay? I mean, the clock is ticking at different speeds, maybe for the technology geeks and for the customers, because I mean, customers need to run the daily operation. And they're being held responsible to meeting their SLAs and everything, so they can actually experiment and so forth. So, talked to a customer yesterday who's still in the finalization of the SAP rollout, which kind of started 6 years ago. So you talk to them, they want to revamp their stuff, yes, absolutely. The point that I'm trying to make here is it's not about when you think like, oh, the new stuff is there, you just jump right on. I mean, we talk about companies that are actually embracing multiple holding style sub-companies that they all have responsibility on. So you need to have a controlled process to make that migration a totally smooth one.
Yeah, because if I'm a CIO, I'm saying, all right, wait a minute, I'm concerned about risk. So if you, yes, my Unix environment's proprietary, it's going to be more expensive, I'm going to be spending more on hardware, but all these processes built up around it. I'm afraid, Bernhard, to move off of that on my watch. maybe the next CIO. How do you help manage that risk? Take us through that process.
Yeah, okay. I mean, that's actually pretty easy. So the migration process is not a very complicated one. It's actually a list of steps that you would have to take that you can line out on a couple of pages and so forth. So you basically put some examples in there. There's certain variations here and there, but essentially what you do is like you line up a couple of good guys and consulting folks or folks from the SI Alliance business, and they will kind of hold your hand in that perspective, okay? They will tell you like, look, I mean, we're taking a copy of your system, we test it through, we're going to show you and prove to you that it's really working smooth. We have a kind of a push button procedure defined, so you can take it one by time and you're going to measure the success. So there will be minimal disruption for you, and here, look at this, here's a couple of thousand customers who've been doing it before you. So this is usually that you want to go through. It's like let me find a good example. I mean, hiking a certain path, okay? I mean, you need to know the right way. You don't want to basically step left or right and kind of fall deep, but you know, if you take the step, if you take the guidance from your leader, it won't be a problem, and you'll be enjoying basically everything else after all.
So in thinking about that migration specifically, I mean, it's a package, right? So you're basically pretty easy to migrate a package, but some clients, I would imagine, have some custom code built up around it. Are you running into those complexities? Do I have to do things like freeze the code? Are there situations where it just, you know, it's a little harder and it might not make as much sense?
No, actually not, because I mean the customizations are at an application level that's actually decoupled from what we're talking about from an infrastructure, so that's not playing a major role in that respect. It would rather be kind of and further accelerated to go virtual and so forth, because to kind of not out what you would have in your complex environment and want to copy it and transfer it to somewhere else, you can do that on a virtual infrastructure much easier. Yeah,
now talk about virtualization a little bit. I mean, early on, maybe it's like 2 or 3 years ago, there was some concern about virtualizing SAP. I know a lot of application heads, you know, were concerned and maybe still be concerned about that. Can you talk a little bit about virtualizing SAP, what the experiences have been?
Yeah, I would basically cancel concern and replace it by uninformed, because I mean it's fully supported since, let me do the math, I think 7 years from an SAP perspective. There's been going on some stuff with Oracle, who always tries to make it hard on you from a database level. That's also fully supported from a VMware perspective. So I mean, it's kind of all a done deal. Some guys, for whatever reason, I mean the Unix folks, to kind of try to keep them on their old side, would tell you all kinds of anecdotal stuff on how crazy it is, but essentially, I mean, there's so many proof points there. That's not a real problem, and you can read it up. It's not a secret.
So the gates are open, the floodgates are going. You guys are full guns, and I'll give you the last word. What last word for the audience?
Hey, customers, go for it. We got all the help lined up for you.
All right, great, Bernhard. Thanks very much for coming back in theCUBE. Appreciate it. All right, keep it right there, everybody. This is Dave Vellante, and this is theCUBE. We'll be right back with some more guests from EMC's SAP event here in Hopkinton.